Today we're going to be talking about how jurors make decisions. As we've said before, the juror's role is to decide the facts of the case. The judge decides the matters of law. Now, in jurisdictions that have no laypersons acting as jurors, the judge will decide both the facts of the case and the matters of law. In an earlier presentation, we learned that jurors and judges are affected by largely the same factors when making their decisions. So in this video, when we talk about how jurors make decisions, we're really just talking about how deciders of fact make their decisions. So how does the law see the juror's role? Let's look at the Juror's Handbook from Queensland in Australia. This is a pretty typical statement of the juror's role.
There, the juror's role is to make the most important decision in any court case, whether or not the accused is guilty as charged, or in civil cases, who is at fault. They bring to the task a wealth of experience, common sense, and insight.
So as we said, they have to decide the facts of the case based on the evidence presented at trial. And to do that, they bring their life experience and common sense. In psychology, there's a lot of research looking at how people use their life experience and common sense to make decisions. We generally call these things schemas, stereotypes, and heuristics. A stereotype is pretty much a mental representation of information about a social category and can include information about whether we feel positively or negatively about people from that category, and also information about what people from that category are like, so their attributes, and the sorts of behaviours that they perform and the roles that they occupy. A stereotype is a specific example of what we call a schema. A schema can apply to a range of other types of things as well. Heuristics are quick decision rules or shortcuts that we learn from our experiences. We'll be talking about how some of these things may influence jurors' decisions. It's important when we're talking about this research, however, to understand that we're not trying to make a case that jurors are not up to doing their job, despite what some people might think about jurors.
A better instrument could scarcely be imagined for achieving uncertainty, capriciousness, lack of uniformity, disregard of former decisions, utter unpredictability.
Instead, the point we're making is that jurors are just people and that all of us are affected by schemas, stereotypes, and heuristics. The reason why it's important to study these things in the context of jury decision-making is not to specifically criticise jurors, but to understand how these normal aspects of social cognitive functioning affect jurors in their role. We want to know what factors exacerbate the effect of these things and what factors inhibit them. When are they specifically problematic and when are they not so problematic? Once we know these things, we may well be able to provide the support to jurors and structure their task in such a way as to limit any adverse effect on their decisions. So you can perhaps think about it this way. The research helps us to identify possible problems with how jurors are asked to perform their job, not with problems with individual jurors. It's also worth noting that the single biggest influence on jurors' decisions is the strength of the evidence against the defendant. So generally, jurors do a reasonable job, but there are ways they could be better supported because research shows that factors beyond just the evidence affect their decisions.